This is Access Houston on 97.9 The Box.
Good Sunday morning. You're listening to Access Houston. I'm your host, KG Smooth. Welcoming in the studio, first timer to the program. She is a classical singer. She is also a professor, and she will be performing this evening in Stafford. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up. We got a diva in the house, and I don't mean diva as in difficult. I mean diva as in opera. Dr. Gwendolyn D Alfred, welcome and good morning.
Thank you. Good morning. Glad to be here.
Good. So tell us about yourself real quick so the city can know who you are.
Well, I came to Houston about 8 or so years ago. I got my undergraduate degree from the University of Houston in vocal performance from the Moore School of Music. I then traveled back home to Port Arthur, Texas, where I am from. At this time, I completed my master's degree at Lamar University in Beaumont, and I taught high school in Port Arthur at the same time. Then I decided that I wanted to get my doctorate degree, and I came back to Houston because Houston has always called me here, and I completed my doctorate degree at the University of Houston in 2015. And I currently work at Texas Southern University. I'm assistant professor of voice in the music department, and I'm loving it. Houston, I just always end up back here, so I just love the city so much.
Yeah, there's something about this town that just pulls you in, huh? I know the feeling. Yeah. So when did you start singing?
I started singing probably at the age of 4 or 5, like typical children usually do. I was singing in the Montessori school, and I was always in choir in school. Mm-hmm. And when I got to middle school, my mom was like, okay, are you going to be in band or choir? And I wanted to do both, of course, because at middle schoolers, we don't know what we want to do at that point. We're trying to figure ourselves out. So I did band for a bit, but choir called me back, and one of my amazing teachers told me that she saw a gift in my voice, and I began competing in middle school and continued to compete throughout high school, and eventually decided to be a voice major because I felt like it was just meant to be.
Yeah. So these voice competitions, you started singing opera, or you kind of grew into it, or the singing competitions like you were in talent shows and you know, singing some Whitney Houston or, some, any other great vocalists back then, Mariah.
Yeah, I did a lot of pop stuff too, but it was mainly, I started out in choir. I didn't know anything about opera until I got to University of Houston.
Okay. So, church girl, of course.
Yeah, I sang in church, of course.
You look like one of the Clark sisters. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could be Karen Clark's baby sister or something.
I hear that a lot.
Baby Karen Clark in the building.
Maybe we are kin. I don't know. I'll have to hit her up and see. But I started singing in choir, and I was at church. I had a great time doing it, and then I was so in love with choir. I saw University of Houston's choir, and I was like, I have to be a part of that. And got to the University of Houston and saw that they had opera auditions, and I was like, hey, let me try this out and see how this goes. And I've been singing ever since, and the rest is history.
So what made you interested in opera music, or what struck a chord like, oh, this technique is... Yeah, okay, I can see, like, real singers come from opera.
Yeah, definitely. I think the difficulty in the genre and being able to act and sing and focus on all this technique at once really struck me, and I'm a person that loves a challenge, and since it was something I never did and never was exposed to with my culture, me being a black woman, I didn't really grow up singing it or listening to it. I was struck by that. So
yeah, I just knew the ones that were on commercials or in movies or on the cartoons.
Of course. So, yes, wonderful. That's exactly how I felt. So I'm like, let me try this out, and I started getting voice lessons. My teacher saw a gift in me, and she's like, you can really do this. So that really struck me, and I had the notes. I was like, okay, wow, I got these high notes. Let's go for it. So I went for it.
Nice. You're listening to Access Houston. I'm talking to Dr. Gwendolyn Alfred, who will be performing tonight, this evening. Tell us about tonight's performance.
It's Carmina Burana. I'm going to be singing the soprano solo with the Fort Bend Symphony Orchestra. We have amazing soloists there, and it's crazy because we're majority of us who are in this company are U of H alums. So I met a lot of these people in school.
Nice.
The conductor is a U of H alum. One of the baritone soloists is a U of H alum. The chorus master is a U of H alum. So we're bringing our U of H to Fort Bend and at the Stafford Center at 2:00 today. So please come on out and enjoy a treat. Go Cougs.
And where do they need to go to get more information or see what the admission is?
Fort Bend Symphony Orchestra.org is the website.
Okay.
And you can go there for ticketing information and contact our executive director, who's also a U of H alum. And she'll get you right in and get you a ticket and get you some seating. We want to fill the house, so come on out, people.
Absolutely. So tell us about it. Do you have any community initiatives that you are looking to start, or any sort of nonprofit that you are part of, or anything that has to deal with, getting people more into the arts?
Yeah,
because it seems as though
definitely.
that it's still around and it's still here, and I think it's viable and it's strong. But then we do have some people who up there in Washington D.C. who's trying to take away from
You're right.
those type of programs.
Crazy that you ask that, because I plan to start working on my nonprofit organization this summer. It's just going to get our community youth exposed to classical music and classical training and healthy technique, and get more of us in this field of music that we sometimes feel is unattainable. So I'm hoping to be able to go into some of the community schools, churches, wherever we have, capable musicians who may want to be a part of this field, and have them better educated about it. And because I feel like we have the talent, it's just we need the education behind it.
And more black people in opera. I mean,
Definitely.
I don't know that many sopranos. I think coming up in the 90s, I remember Kathleen Battle.
Yeah.
In the 2000s, no black opera singer stands out. Wait, one female, I can't think of her name. I got her face. In the 2000s, who was really big. But like you're like you're like the third black opera singer that I know of.
Oh wow, we're in the field. We just we're spread out a lot, and in Texas there's not many of us in Texas, to be totally honest. We're in New York. There's Leontine Price.
Leontine Price.
You cannot say black opera without saying Leontine Price.
And that's exactly who I was thinking of. That's exactly what I was thinking of.
I had a feeling you were talking about her.
Yes.
So yes, we have a lot of people who want to be a part of the field, and they just need to, get better educated about it, learn the technique, don't give up. It's a very difficult field to be in, having to do all of these auditions and hearing no's and sometimes yeses or sometimes maybes, and just persevere throughout it. So
Absolutely.
I'm hoping to push people forward. At TSU, because I teach there, of course, I have a lot of people coming up under my tutelage, which is crazy because I've been there for 1 year now. So I have a lot of people that they're aspiring to be opera singers and classical singers and jazz singers. And I'm just trying to promote the healthy technique of singing amongst these students.
So speaking of which, for the people out there who are listening who happen to be singers, what is I got two questions for you when it came to training for opera, with opera. What was the hardest thing to do in terms of technique with singing in opera? And what is the biggest misconception that singers have?
Okay. This is a very loaded question. There are many difficult things to do, but I think just being technical wise, I think
for you, tough is technical wise.
My toughest technical battle I fight with is just not being so critical and not worrying about technique so much. I know it's kind of a double-ended sword, but when I take that away from my performance, because I have a lot of technique of breathing and being able to have the space in your mouth and the space in the back of the mouth and having your jaw a certain way so you can access these notes. Sometimes when I worry about that too much, it gets in the way of my performance. And you still have to, you have to be dedicated to the poetry and the libretto and everything that goes with performing. So that's a part of technique that people leave out a lot, is the creative side of it.
No. Biggest misconception when it comes to singing for those singers out there.
The biggest misconception is that we forget about the main fundamentals of breathing, breathing correctly, working, exercising your voice, practicing every day so you can get better at these things. We think we can go to one voice lesson and it'll be fixed, but
No,
I tell a
you
lot
gotta
of
keep
people
it
that
on.
hear me sing,
It's a muscle.
yeah, it's a muscle. It's just like working out.
Yeah.
You can't go work out for one day a week or one day out of the year and expect to be a bodybuilder.
Yeah,
not
that's
how it
probably why
works.
my falsetto is so mean. And then my, full singing voice, like when I sang in the choir and things like that, I still got power, but like my range as a tenor, I haven't been practicing that side of my voice. And so it's a little lacking, but,
And another
I can sing you.
misconception-
I can hit Mariah Carey high notes though.
Wow. Let's hear some. But oh my goodness.
Sorry, that's from the back of my
Come on to
throat, but-
TSU and get some lessons. I'll hook you up. But another thing that a lot of students don't think about, or a lot of just singers don't think about, is that you have to be able to be confident with your own instrument and what God gave you. We have YouTube now. People YouTube a lot of people and singers, and they want to be just like them, and they aspire to be them, and they start to sing like them. But it's just like, you have to own your own instrument. It took me a while to really take that under my wing as well, because I used to imitate a lot growing up. So now just having my own instrument and having my own sound, it's easier for me to get over these technical issues as well.
Absolutely. Oh, man. Well, we can't wait to see more of you.
Wonderful.
Dr. Gwendolyn Alfred, who will be performing this afternoon, 2 p.m. in Stafford. Give them the information one more time.
Stafford Center in Stafford, Texas, 2:00 p.m., Fort Bend Symphony Orchestra. For more information, fortbendsymphony.org. Thank you so much.
Good Sunday morning. You're listening to Access Houston. I'm your host, KG Smooth. Welcoming here. You normally hear her inside the Access Houston Roundtable, but today she is a part of the interviewing portion of Access Houston. Ladies and gentlemen, the lovely Samantha Blair. Good morning.
Thank you, KG. Good morning.
How are you?
I'm awesome today. I'm about to talk about an awesome event. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. PlusFest.
PlusFest. PlusFest is everything plus poetry. I know you have never heard of a poetry festival. That's all right. This is the first time, and that's why it's so spectacular, KG.
Yeah. So tell us about PlusFest. What I see everything plus poetry, the everything plus poetry special. So what is the everything?
The everything is everything. No Lauryn Hill. It's poetry, it's visuals, it's music, it's art, it's innovation. It is everything plus poetry. Like when you think about it, you hear about all these music festivals. We got Free Press out there, you've got South by Southwest out there, and they've got all these interactive things, and that's great. That's bomb. Maybe one time out of the whole time you hear poetry. So poetry is always kind of like everybody's like side adventure, but this time poetry is playing the front seat, not the back seat to everybody else. And so everything else, art is important in all of its ways and its fashions and its forms, but this time poetry gets to take a front seat to, the musicians and to the artists and even to a culinary artist. We even got a burlesque dancer on there. I'm talking, when I say dynamic, it's dynamic.
Yeah.
It is everything.
The poetry community in Houston is pretty large, like just outside of those incredible kids at Metaphor and some of the a couple of the slams that I have been to, that a coworker of mine who does poetry as well, that I've attended, and I'm like, wow. And then you got people like Outspoken Bean, who is also a part of a Metaphor, who does that whole just incredible with it. And then you got the poetry nights that was on Sundays here in Houston. So yeah, the poetry scene in the H is thriving.
Absolutely. And shout out to Bean. PlusFest is all Bean. This is Bean's brainchild. This is Beans Festival, 100%. Bean is also Metaphor Houston. And it's important because when you think about writers in schools, when you think about, the kids that are also going to be participating, the Houston VIP team will also be in attendance at PlusFest. When you think about how important it is to give kids an outlet outside of, just music, just dance, just academics, but poetry, spoken word, thoughtful and deliberate delivery of just words. That's so powerful.
Yeah.
And so, the Houston poetry scene is definitely growing. I think it's definitely becoming one of those things that people are more accepting of and enjoying it. And so PlusFest is a thing that brings all of that together. It's a celebration of that. And so I'm really excited to be a part of the PlusFest team.
We are really excited about it, too. So when is PlusFest taking place?
PlusFest is going to be on May 27th. It's going to be from 4 o'clock p.m. until, we're going to say until, but 2 o'clock is typically when Houston shuts down, right? It's going to be at Epperson Gallery, and that is 1201 Fannin Street.
So from 4 until 2.
From 4 until 2. Jam-packed.
Until 4 until.
4 until.
What a festival. I've never heard a festival that went into the night and overnight.
It's going into the night, overnight. We're going to have a little after party. So, if you really want to be a part of it, get the VIP tickets. There are tickets and there are tickets. Like, the VIP tickets are what I advise for you to get because it comes with so much more after that. If you want to see the burlesque show, if you want to be a part of all the fun things after the fact, which is where a lot of the fun is going to be, you got to get in for that, definitely.
No doubt. You're listening to Access Houston. We're talking to Samantha Blair from PlusFest. So who will be some of the guests and the headliners for PlusFest this year?
We've got Rudy Francisco is our headliner. Rudy Francisco is like the man in poetry. I personally am a super fan of him. We've got Ebony Stewart, who won the women's poetry contest. Maybe I want to say it's been about a month now. She's definitely a rock star. We've got the guy who did the Be Someone Bridge. So if you've ever been in Houston and you rode on I-10, you've seen Be Someone, Big as Daylight. He's definitely going to be there. He's going to be doing his thing. He's got a big art piece that he's going to be doing for PlusFest. Nice. We've got the People's Cook, who is a culinary artist who comes out and does his thing to poetry. He also gives the audience some kinetic tools so that they can be a part of the experience. So when I tell you that this experience is interdisciplinary and it's interactive, all day long you're going to be participating in PlusFest. You're not going to walk in and walk around and be on your phone and just be talking to your friends. You are going to interact with us at PlusFest.
So is this something that families can attend, or is it just something
Absolutely.
for, the millennial, is this going to be some grown folks, activity going on where the kids can't come?
No, it's absolutely 100% family friendly. I wouldn't advise the kids coming to the burlesque show, which is in the after party for the VIPs. That might be a little bit more suggestive than I would like a kid to participate in. However, to each his own. If you're a parent and you feel like you want your kid, that's you. But it's definitely family friendly and family fun for everyone. So everyone is welcome. I advise everyone to buy a ticket. Houston, buy tickets.
Yeah, get the tickets, and they can do that at www.plusfest.com, or you can log on to Eventbrite. I'm skimming over the names of the guests who will be there. You guys got some hitters on here. Can you give us a rundown of the guests?
Yes, absolutely. And another way you can get info is if you text PlusFest to 50500. That's 50500. Our guests are going to be Rudy Francisco, The People's Cook, Ebony Stewart, The Foreign Arm, Folklore Films, Houston VIP Team, DJ Rue Logic, Soul Control, Who Said What, including Mr. Phil Wade, and of course the Be Someone artist.
Yeah.
And again, Ray Vanessa, the burlesque dancer who we talked about already.
Yeah, that is going to be really, really dope. I hope so. The PlusFest, it's the Everything Plus Poetry Festival, described as an innovative one-day festival that's going to provide a platform for spoken word artists and poets to fuse their work alongside and in collaboration with local visual artists, videographers, DJs, musicians, whole lot more. The community, what should the community expect when they come out?
The community should expect to feel comfortable and to have their perception of poetry change thoroughly. We have some great community sponsors, including the Andy Warhol Foundation for the Visual Arts, who's been definitely very, very dedicated in the community. Diverse Works, the Idea Fund, Bravo, Project Row Houses, the whole community has its hands in this pot for PlusFest. So the community can expect to come in, have their perceptions changed, have a lot of fun, and to get their hands dirty. So
No doubt. That's dope.
definitely.
Andy Warhol, was that the gentleman that said that everyone will be world famous for 15 minutes?
Probably.
Was that him?
I believe that was him. Andy Warhol definitely is famous for a lot of those pop art type art things that you see. Or like a couple years ago, they did the Sprite cans and they had the installations, and that was very much the Andy Warhol effect. So Andy Warhol is a big name in art, and I think that's important, especially considering that art is being cut at the knees right now in our nation.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Absolutely. So
yeah.
This is going to be dope. Like, that's what I'm really like. I'm sitting here as we're talking. I'm thinking to myself, like, ooh, the charged up, passionate poetry and spoken word
got heart.
from these artists, right? That's got heart. I can't wait to see what they have to say about, our current social climate, especially on the political tip,
There's plenty of that, but you don't get to see any of that until you buy tickets, KG.
I'm sure.
You gotta buy tickets,
sure of
Houston.
that. So save the date for Saturday, May 27th, from 4 until at the Esperson Gallery. That's 1201 Fannin Street here in Houston. The PlusFest, the Everything Plus Poetry Festival. It's going to be a hot one. So thanks for letting us know about this. Tell us one more time where they can get more information and tickets.
You can get more information and you can get tickets at plusfest.com. That's PLUSFEST.com. And if you're tech savvy like me, you can text PlusFest to 50500.
Samantha Blair from PlusFest. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening to Access Houston.
We'll be back with more Access Houston on 97.9 The Box.